Good evening, myself and Graham here from our Nerds.
Save them all.
And we hope you're here. Thank you for joining us on episode 235 of our podcast. Hope you're well and hope you are not too cold at the moment.
Winter's come.
Yes, well, the UK is having its one snowy day of the year at the moment. We get like one a year, and we're not really set up for it, and it's bloody freezing. So
Dude, we've had so much snow here, it's insane.
yeah.
In Denmark, we had so much snow, it completely everything just went into a stop.
Yeah.
Nothing could get on the roads for a couple of days, 3 days almost. Everything went crazy. Buses didn't go anywhere. Nothing was going anywhere. It was crazy. And we just had more snow. And from what I heard, we're getting more snow tomorrow.
But I mean, so in the UK, snow, at least where I live, snow's pretty rare. We might get a day a year, and that'll be it. Sometimes you have a bad spell where you have for like a week, but it's not bad.
Yeah.
But I imagine in Denmark, being more northern, I imagine you get probably a lot more than we do, probably fairly regularly as well.
For the last 10 years or so, I think it's more like what you said, like a day or two a year.
Really?
We just get some snow. Yeah. Remember when we lived at the house before we moved here? Because on the sidewalks close to the house, the people that live in the house or own a house, that's their job to make sure no one trips and breaks a hip or whatever. Otherwise, they get sued. We would help each other shovel snow and go out with salt and whatnot.
Yeah.
And but that's only happened we lived there for 5 years, and I think that only happened 1 year out of them 5 that we had to really do that.
Oh wow.
So it's but this year it's been crazy. It's been a lot of snow. Yeah.
I always assumed that being more sort of northern, you'd get a actual winter. Like where we don't really get winter, we get a mild. It gets mild, and that's about it. We very rarely get proper freezing temperatures. I think we've literally got it's this. I think it's about -3 today, and it's about minus figures tomorrow. But Monday and Tuesday, it's gonna be about 10, 11 degrees.
Yeah, it's the same here. Same here.
Yeah, interesting.
So I from what I've gathered, our weather situation, Danish and UK, is pretty much identical.
Yeah.
That storm we had just what was it, just before Christmas, I think, or after?
Yes,
I can't remember.
That was one before Christmas. Yeah.
Yeah. That one actually, you had it first, and then it went to Denmark afterwards.
Yeah. Our cast-offs.
Yeah. And that's actually happened with the last 2 storms we've had. They've both hit the UK first and then us. But yeah, it's oh shit! I punched my mic.
You must stop doing that, Zaber.
Yeah.
You're the expert broadcaster here. You should stop doing that.
Well, as Skaz used to say, he said to me when I bought this mic, "Don't punch it; you'll break your hand."
Yeah.
And I keep doing it.
Yeah.
So next podcast, if I have a cast, you know why.
You know why he got 2 fingers with his microphone.
Yeah.
That's his story. Yeah. See, I've one disadvantage with the snow is that my office that I work in basically has no heating. All I have is a little oil-filled radiator that's currently sat next to me at the moment, and it's putting out some warmth. But you can't see this because you can't see the stream, you can't see my webcam, but no. I'm wearing thermals. Top of that, I've got a dressing gown on, and I've got a blanket on. Just to try and keep warm.
And here I'm sat in my t-shirt, be like,
yeah. I got any central heating out here. It's bloody freezing.
Yeah.
I was meant to get myself a little fan heater that I could sort of push underneath, so I can at least have sort of warmth coming from underneath. But that's not our thing. So if by this episode, my fingers might have fallen off from frostbite.
If Ram's lips turn blue, you know why.
If Ram's lips turn blue, can you call Zaber and let message Zaber, and then he will message like someone in the UK to come, give me some warmth.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say the kiss of life, but I don't want Skaz doing that.
I don't know. I don't know I don't know phone numbers like that. That's gonna be an escort or something, dude.
Hey, as long as it gets me warm, I don't really care. I'm not picky. It's what it is. Oh dear. So you been up to much, Zaber?
Huh?
Have you been up to much?
Actually, well, yeah, I've been busy, but not with like everything else, like normal life stuff. So I haven't really gamed much. I've been the time I've had, there's certain games out there that where you can just sit down and play them for like 15 minutes and then log off or whatever. That's the type of games I've been playing.
Yeah.
Because that's what I've had time for. Been practicing guitar, new tunes for the band, and watching some TV shows as well. Actually, late night stuff when I don't want to game. I've been watching a few TV shows, so
yeah,
that's what's been going on here in little Denmark.
Yeah, Zaber is a very talented musician. The stuff the stuff he sent me through a load of stuff like a week and a half ago, and it's brilliant. And I think what shocked me most is how you sound completely different when you sing. I got my I got my sister.
People keep saying that.
Yeah, you do. I got my sister saying, "Who do you think's singing on this?" And she's like guessing like these like celebrities and stuff and so forth. I said, "No, that is the most famous Danish man, Zaber."
Oh.
And she's like, "Oh, really?" She says, "He sounds so different and good." Which I'm not. Yeah.
Normally he just sounds like a prick.
Yeah, he's actually good. And it's like, yeah, it's amazing. So when Zaber's
it's the Danish man.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it's really good. One day, once his album's throws, perhaps I'll twist his arm and let him share it, and let us share it one day.
Maybe we'll do a pre-screening of the whole thing here on Rand Nerds. Oh yeah,
live performance, mate.
That's not easy to pull off with metal, dude.
Yeah, I've faith in you.
But not undoable. Like if I have everything backtracked and I just have to do the vocal parts, sure, that could probably be done. But yeah.
Is that when you sort of like do performing in bands and stuff? Is vocals your like favorite position, or do you like? Because I know you do guitar as well, don't you, in bands? So I started playing bass, way back, like as a kid when I think I was 8. So I went for lessons at like an actual music school. So I had normal school, and then after school I went to the music school, and then I had bass lessons. And immediately, because there weren't a hell of a lot of bass players back then, I got dragged into like every single orchestra they had where they needed a bass. So I was like part of 4 orchestras. I was like a big band. I played jazz, dude. Fucking a big jazz.
Band. Like a big band orchestra.
I feel sorry for you. I actually can't stand jazz.
That was but see, playing it was something completely, because normally that's not my groove either. But it opened up my eyes. It's really hard to play, dude. Especially as a bass player. Like I had to. It was sheet music, dude. I had to read notes and everything.
Yeah. As a bass player, you're used to this sort of stuff.
Yeah, fucking yeah. It was horrendous, dude. And then I actually dabbled a bit with, like, I had a single year, I think, where I was like, I was into keyboards. So I was like, I want to play like the key. They had like, you can take piano lessons, or then you can play keyboard lessons. So I was like, fuck piano, I want keyboard lessons. But it was more like, press scrape, press the banana, it's like, no, fuck that shit.
I'm sorry, isn't I know piano is obviously different to a keyboard, but aren't they fundamentally the same sort of thing?
It's the same. A keyboard just has more sounds and more things in it.
A keyboard, to my mind, a keyboard is electronic rather than like an actual.
You can make it sound
Is a piano? Would you class a piano as a stringed instrument? I suppose you could. It's got strings in it.
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, it has strings, but I wouldn't necessarily classify it as a string instrument.
Yeah.
But yeah, after that, I then on my own started playing. Well, during that as well, I started playing guitar, and actually, I think I was 13 or 14, or when I wrote my first song in English, and created my first band where we wrote all our own music. And I was both playing the guitar and doing the vocals at that point. That I don't like so much. I don't like playing both the guitar and singing because it's two things that you have to focus on.
It's sort of
hard to focus.
It's like passing your head and rubbing your belly at the same time.
Oh yeah. And having to I'm like a perfectionist with stuff like this, so it has to be done right. So I have to play the guitar 100%, and I have to sing 100%. And if I fuck up on one thing, like just a tiny bit, I get frustrated, and that could then cause me to make mistakes on the vocals. Usually I'm good at practicing and stuff, so normally that wouldn't be the case. But the more things I have to do, the higher the chance of fucking up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when we then, I think 6 years ago or something like that, about around 5 or 6 years ago, then we had to get the band together again because we had been on a CD way back, which had gotten so I'm that old that CD had gotten to a 25-year anniversary. So there was 10 bands from my hometown that each recorded one track for this CD, and the guy that was behind all this stuff, he was like, let's see if we can get some of these bands together again and have a reunion concert. We did that. There was only 4 of us out of the 10, but I mean, it was a cool night and an awesome concert.
Yeah.
And I sat down and I wrote. I think we decided to take 3 of the old songs, and then a couple of cover songs we made into our own. And then I wrote 3 completely new tracks for us for this concert. And for this event, I then decided to get someone else to play. There's only been me and the guitar, and then someone else whilst I was then singing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But now I then made sure we had 2 guitarists, and then I could only focus on vocals. So to get back to your question, why I enjoy the most, I enjoy all of it, but I don't enjoy doing 2 things at once. So if I'm in a band where I need to play the guitar, I want to only play the guitar, and I love doing that, which is what I'm doing right now. Well, at least for now, we don't know what's happening with that just yet. But yeah, or if I'm in a band where I'm just singing, then that would be preferred. I don't want to do both, but I like doing both equally, I think.
Yeah. I mean, would you do would you consider doing a mixture of perhaps some songs singing, some guitaring, or would you just be I'm in the band, I'm the guitarist or the vocalist type situation, or would you this song I sing, this song I guitar, or do you have a preference over that?
No, if I were in a band, I would be either I am the singer permanently or the guitarist permanently.
Okay, that's fair.
Wouldn't be I wouldn't swap around.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. Cool. Yes, it's funny you said about when you were at school that you learned bass and got pulled into everything. You made me think of my only joke I know about bass guitarists.
Yeah.
And there's this music instructor. He instructs guitar, and he puts an advert and he instructs bass guitar. And he decides to start advertising his services. So he puts an advert out, and eventually he gets a call from one person saying, "I'd like to learn how to do bass guitar. I've got one. I'd like to learn to use it." Come along. So this guy turns up, and he gets his bass guitar out that he owns, and it's in an absolute state. It's out of tune, it's not working, and so forth. So they literally spend the first lessons all tuning it, getting it right, do almost all the actual teaching, and literally they get to the end. All the guy says just gets him just to sort of strum it a little bit, and that's about it. He doesn't do any training and stuff. Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Thanks so much," and go. following week comes up, and he's waiting for his student to turn up, and he gets a phone call, and it's a student. The student says, "Oh, I can't make it to today's lesson." And the guy's sort of like, "Well," that's a real shame. We spent so much time like getting your guitar ready and stuff and so forth that you can't make it. What's going on? And the student goes, "Yeah, I've got a gig."
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not sure what made you think of you when you said about you, like, "Oh, you play guitar, there you go."
Yeah. The thing is, like, everyone always takes the mick out of the bass players. I think the bass players are the most underrated.
Musician.
I'm doing. I was,
that's what bass.
Make it into a joke. I was gonna make it into a joke and do the sarcastic air quotes and be like musicians. but yeah, it's yeah, they are the most underrated. But in fairness, bass is an easy instrument to play, if you ask me. Unless it's like some really funky tappy type stuff that you need to play, like Mr. Bungle or just Mr. Bungle. Like,
yeah. Is it
people that don't know Mr. Bungle? Look it up. Go to Spotify, Mr. Bungle, and listen to that bass. That's not easy to play. That's really hard.
I'll put a link in the show notes.
Yeah.
No, not Dungle, Bungle. There we go.
Mr. Bungle, yeah. That's some crazy stuff. That's some really crazy stuff.
I'll find a link in the show notes. I'll put something there for people to join in on.
Yeah.
I think in the case, is it on the case in the case like the bass, is it because like a lot of people going to learn guitar tend to learn bass first and move on to other things? So it's all seen as like the sort of entry level stuff. Is that sort of the reason why, or is it?
I think just because it's easy to play, and there's this like joke in terms of bands where it's like always the bass player that's gonna make everything sucky. And to the extent that it's now in music production, it's so common that people just use a MIDI bass.
Yeah.
I've even seen some of the bigger bands, or bigger in terms of what I listen to at least, where they have the bass player track his bass, then they split it up. So they only use like a small frequency of the bass, and then layered with like 3 other MIDI basses. But the part that they use is only like so it sounds authentic, like they get the strumming sound of the bass almost.
Yeah.
And that's what they use for the production. I know it's cheating, and I know it's the sound of the record is not like 1-to-1 with what you would hear on stage.
Yeah.
But nowadays, that's not what people are trying to achieve when they, at least in high-end productions, they're not trying to get the what's it called? Get the sound on the CD that they want live.
Yeah. Oh, poor bass players.
Yeah, well, they do. Well, people cheat in their productions. I call it cheat. It's not cheating, but it's because like our productions nowadays, they're online. It's our portfolio. If that sounds great, we're more likely to get booked for gigs.
Yeah.
A lot of people then use backtracking and stuff like that, so they can actually almost get an identical 1-to-1 thing going on when they play live.
Because
but that's very, very costly doing that because you need a lot of gear.
Yeah, no, so because I suppose when you do a lot of online stuff, you can have a lot of stuff that your portfolio is a heavily refined. It's been the tracks up there have been gone through several times, refined and tricked and so forth. So what you hear online isn't what you're going to hear live, because that's like probably like several iterations of the same track gone again, or we'll just treat that and made it perfect, which is of course what you're going to do, because of course you would. Of course you're going to make it sound like spot on, but it's not going to be what you hear live, is it?
You can do that, and a lot of people are doing it when they play live. The problem is it's very costly. The amount of gear that you need behind the stage.
Yeah.
So normally you then have everything on stage go through the rig, and then into in-ears for the band, and then send like the majority of their stuff from the house, And with modelers for guitars nowadays, they are using these modelers for the productions, meaning that when they then go out and play their gigs, they can just set this stuff from the house. It will be the exact same sound that they had on their production that they will have go from the house.
Yeah.
Which is insane that we've come to a point where you can do that.
So it's almost like the bands are almost miming their music. Is that, am I understanding that correctly?
No. They're still playing it. It's just the exact same tone that they have on their guitar boards.
Yeah.
That they've used to produce their album. Then they can with a cabinet emulation going on, they can send this to front of house when they're playing live. So when they're strumming their guitar, it'll sound exactly like it did when they recorded their album.
Yeah, it's being processed and stuff to make it sound.
It's on the board, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
But it's so awesome. People also make other shortcuts when they have like a lot of electronical stuff going on for their backtracking, where they use MIDI. So where they have like everything in a DAW, and then they've how do you say it? They've programmed MIDI so it switches from, let's say you have like 4 channels on your guitar board, yeah.
Yeah.
1 is a clean channel.
Yep.
2 is a distortion, and then you have 3, which is a lead.
Yeah.
And then you have a 4, which is let's say an effect type thing going on, like modular thing going on, yeah. Then in MIDI, you can then select it because you're playing after a click in your ear when you're going live and all this stuff, and you have all this electronical stuff going on. So you know exactly when you need to. Normally, you would have went to press your board from going to from a clean to a distortion, and then from a distortion to a lead. But you can then program it in so it does it for you, so you don't have to even touch your board when you're playing live. So you can just play guitar. It will switch. You just have to play it right. Like when you play the clean parts, play the distortion parts, then go back to clean parts, then to distortion, then to lead. You know what parts you're going to be playing, but the board just changes on its own. You don't have to touch it. So you just have to focus on performing, playing your guitar, and connecting with the audience. And I think that's cool. I think that's really cool.
Mm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, I see.
Again,
yeah, makes sense.
Again, like I said before, about the more things you have to focus on, the higher the chance of making mistakes. If you then gradually take things out that you don't have to focus on, now I don't have to focus on my guitar board. I don't have to focus on anything other than just playing my guitar and connecting with the audience. Then that's cool. That's all you have to do. You don't have to worry about when you have to swap this and that out and do this and that. You know, it's just play, have fun, enjoy.
Yeah. I mean, is there like? I mean, I imagine are there like some bands out there who feel that's cheating's the wrong word. More like it's taking sort of like some of the sort of when you put all these sort of like software stuff in between to do the work, not the work for you, but to enhance things where you want. Are there some like bands there who sort of like see that negatively? Like they'd rather it be more raw?
Sure. There's going to be people that are going to look at that with a negative mindset. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter that there's a guy pressing the pedals. They're going to change anyways.
Yeah.
He's playing the guitar. It's not like he's miming his guitar. He's playing the guitar. Everything's just changing on its own.
Yeah.
Does it really matter that he's pressing the button? No. Are there people out there that's going to make a big deal out of it? Sure. Yeah. I mean, we live in the world.
Yeah.
Everyone has issues with something. So I don't know. It's for me personally, I don't mind.
Yes.
If I'm going out to watch someone play, I'm there to enjoy the music played live.
Yeah.
That means that they could do certain things different. With the music, even though things are changing on their own, they could do other things with it. Have small articulations where they're playing different on the guitar or whatever, you know. A little fill here and there on the drums that sound different as well. It's still being performed live. The singer is still stood with a microphone and singing live. It's not like he's miming either.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's no more different than when you are at a concert listening to electronic music.
Yeah. Makes me think of, I used to be, when I was younger, I used to be into sort of off-roading, taking vehicles off-road and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that one of the things sort of like the old guard used to sort of joke about the new sort of up and comers was, 20, 30 years ago, in an off-road vehicle, you had your gearbox, to transfer box, which was between 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, and you could have high or low. Sometimes you might have a locking diff to lock your diffs and stuff and all that. But it was all mechanical. Mm-hmm. You were putting levers and stuff. It was all mechanical. And you going off road, you had to think about what you're doing. You had to sort of okay, I'm coming to this. I need to you think more about my gear changes. This is looser surface. I need to change how I approach it and stuff. Yeah. It was all because all mechanical. Nowadays, it's all computer controlled. You literally tell the computer what you're driving. Well, in certain systems, some are more successful than others. But like a Land Rover, for example, you literally tell the computer, right, I'm driving over sand now, and it'll do all the workouts for you. It'll gauge the brakes where it needs to, it'll gauge the locks where it needs to, it does it all for you. You just have to just point and drive in the direction you want to go. It does all the work. And there is certainly... They do this sort of competition stuff. They have sort of people going rock crawling and stuff. And there's definitely a attitude from some people, mainly the older people, that if you're using one that's got the computer controls, that somehow you're not properly driving it because the computer's doing the work for you. That's the attitude. Mm-hmm. It sounds like it's a bit different attitude in the music, but you're still driving it. You're still in the sort of pick the direction you're going to go, and you still have to sort of decide where you got to go. It's just that you now don't need to think about the actual almost the gearing of it. You just have to sort of point and go, and you still need to make a decision, but the computer just takes some of the load off you. I mean, it's a bit like, I suppose
I get the analogy.
It's
I would say it's the same as a vehicle.
Yeah.
If I've been taught driving with a manual transmission.
Yeah.
But if I then drive with automatic transmission, it changes the gears on its own as I'm driving and getting up and down the speed.
Yeah.
Is that then, per definition, cheating?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you wouldn't say a pilot of a 747 is cheating because they have an autopilot, would you?
What? They have?
They do. It's a little android. Sits in the cockpit and flies for them. Yeah.
Android?
Yeah, a little android sits there in the cockpit.
They just have a little Huawei hooked up to it, be like,
yeah,
hey.
Stuff like that. Yeah. It flies the plane for them. Yeah, because I mean, they can now basically, they have auto takeoff, auto land. They can literally, the plane can do the whole lot for them.
Is that what the airplane mode is for?
Yes, that's right.
I knew it.
If you switch airplane mode on, so basically every person, when you're sitting in the cabin, they put on airplane mode. If you're the first person to do it, you actually get remote control of the plane and you get to fly it.
Oh,
but you have to be the first person to do it. So next time you're on a plane, make sure your poise ready so you can play a little mini game where you get to fly the plane.
I'll do that. Next time I come UK, it's on.
Yeah. Saber flights. Yeah, we're going full. Let's see if the 747 can reach Mach 1.
I'll be stood up in the plane welcome to Zaber Airways.
Yeah. Today we're going to be flying at 30 feet.
30 feet?
30 feet. 10. Yeah. Oh, there's a tree there. Let's watch out for that. Zaber Airways.
Zaber Airways, yeah.
Oh, cool. So have you been doing any gaming at all, Zaber?
Like I said, small stuff. I'm very much, I don't know. I have this, I've been in this groove for the last 3 weeks or so where I've been playing a hell of a lot of the, of Golf It. I know, did I mention that last podcast or did we talk about it afterwards?
Briefly, yes, we did discuss Golf It last podcast. Only briefly.
Okay. But I've been playing that. The fact that you can just download maps, user-made maps, you have an infinite amount of maps for it, I love mini golf games. It's my groove, and I love it. Even though sometimes I get into a groove where I just really suck at it. It's like I get so furious, like I want to do better. But yeah, I've been playing that. It's an awesome game. Like for those that have not tried that game, fucking get it installed. It's only a couple of quid on
Yeah.
Steam.
If you
Um,
can, get a load of mates to join you because it's definitely best played with a load of mates. You can laugh at each other as they miss their putts.
well, you can play online now. I mean, you
Yeah.
can just log on. I normally I go and check if there's someone else's game that I can join. And if not, I just make my own lobby, and within like a minute or two, you have people joining, and you can just go. It's that simple. I mean, sure, it's more fun when you can talk to people and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But if you just want to like have some people to compete against, it's awesome. It's really really fun.
Yeah, no, I think I can't remember if we played through all of Golf It, um, like a year or 2 years ago. Um, I think we did. I think yeah, but but I think it was like August 22. We played through all of Golf It, I believe.
Yeah,
And there was also one called Golf with Your Friends. Very similar titles. I mean, we played through that as well.
yeah, I played
Um,
that too.
yeah,
Golf with your friends though is very limited. There's not as many tracks.
it's the old of the two because Golf It came. I think Golf It came after Golf with Your Friends. I think Golf is the older of the
Yeah.
two. Um, yeah, it's just fun. It's very simple. Really straightforward. Uh,
I like the way you play it in golf with your friends, like the way that you control, like the controls. I like that better in golf with your friends than I do in golf it.
yeah,
But because golf it is very much like you press on you can press the left when you're ready to shoot, and then you like drag your mouse back and then forward. But depending on how fast you can move forward, that's the power of your
yeah,
shot. That could easily go wrong,
yeah,
easily. So I think it was easier to time or easier to like with the power of just the power of the shots with the golf with your friends.
yeah,
But yeah, the amount of maps that you have for golf it just makes it so much better. In all honesty, because the replayability, so on and so forth. There's just so much to play in that game.
yeah.
Um, So value for the buck, you get a hell of a lot more out of Golfit.
Yeah, no, I've played it. It's definitely it's simple to pick up, really easy to pick up. It's also it's got that right sort of level of challenge where some levels are quite challenging. However, it's sort of like fun to fail.
Yeah, yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah. Like I say, I mean, it's great. You can play. Obviously, play online is great. I mean, I always prefer playing with people I know because then you can sort of like take the piss out of each other.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's always right. So, what the fuck did you do that for? I don't
But
know.
dude, we need to do it. Like we need to do an actual. We need to do Golfit at some point. We need
Yeah,
to do it.
we can add back
And
onto the
also,
roster.
and also like we can do like a comparison. Like try it first with like normal mode with and try the different maps, and then try the VR version because you can play that VR.
Yeah. Now, I'm curious. How's that play in VR?
I don't know. I haven't tried yet.
Oh,
I haven't
right.
tried. I have another game that I've been playing well, not recently, but they keep coming with new maps for it. Uh, Roundabout Mini Golf, Roundabout, something like that on the Oculus Store.
What's it called?
Roundabout. Let me just check. I'll launch up fucking what's it called? The thing. It's called.
Round of golf. Or,
No, not Walkabout. Walkabout Mini Golf. That's what it's called.
Mini
Walkabout
golf
Mini Golf.
VR.
Yeah, I think you can get it on Steam as well. I'm fairly sure.
Yeah.
I've seen it on there as well. But
Steam,
that
yeah,
game
Steam
is
VR, yeah.
made for VR. And it's that. I think that's actually one of the first games I got completely into when I got my VR headset. That game is awesome. I think there's like 4 or 5 new maps that I've bought that I haven't played in that game as well. but the other ones are absolutely amazing. That's a really really good VR game if you like mini golf games.
Yeah.
But I don't know how golf it works. I'm very very like eager to try it at some point. So maybe we should like make a go of it and try both. You know?
Yeah, we should. Should try. That'd be cool to try the try the VR golf game. Because it just sounds like something that's perfectly set up for golf. VR.
Yeah.
But like how the Wii was perfect for golf.
Yeah.
The one golf game that I did get good at wasn't its main thing, but it was a mini game. Was the golf mode in GTA 5, and once I trigged exactly how, because you can control your timing so easily in that game, you can basically just get a perfect round every single time.
Yeah.
And you can bet money with the other players when you do it. So it's great. You can bet money with all the VR for the NPCs and just clear them out every single time. I used to frequently just fire up a game with the golf on GTA 5 just to play the game of golf. I think
I only tried that once in GTA. I did used to way back in the day play the Tiger Woods PGA Tour games. I played those like year after year after year. But it's not the same, you know, as real golf. That's fun. Like I normally like playing normal golf as well.
Perhaps we should play a real golf game as well at some point. You know, yeah.
But next time I come over or something, we'll see if there's a golf course.
There is
close by.
There is one
where we can rent. Oh, cool.
Yeah, there's literally one. Yeah, about 5-10 minutes from Skaz's house.
Oh, nice, dude.
Yeah,
we need to try that.
I think they do. I think they do day passes. I think they used to do guest passes, and I know someone who's got a pass there, so he might be able to get us a guest pass in.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, there is some.
So we can rent clubs and everything.
Yeah. I'm not sure how much it costs. But yeah, that's what we should do. Because I used to play golf, many.
Huh?
Yeah. Oh, this is going back like 20 years.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. Probably even longer than that. Probably like 25 years. I was only like a kid at a time. And yeah, I used to go up there like on a Sunday for like sort of just around the lawn, the free par, like nine hole free par course they had at there.
Yeah.
You used to go around that and just play a round of golf and stuff. And I had clubs, I had everything. I had a set of clubs and everything.
This one time I beat Tiger Woods.
Oh no! No! I don't know what the maximum handicap is, but I had the maximum because I was that shit.
I normally don't. I don't play with handicap.
Yeah.
Handicap, that means you get extra shots. Yeah, per like if you have like a par 4, you get like 3 or 4 extra shots. Yeah.
Yeah, it adds on. From what I understand, it adds on at the end.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, wherever your shot is, so basically,
Normally, I don't play with that. I think
I probably need like a negative 200 handicap to be any chance of winning.
I think my best. Normally, we went to a golf course close by, like 5 minutes drive away from here. Well, maybe 10. But that shut down now. I think that was last year or the year before they closed. It was like an old couple that had it, and I think the husband died a few years back, and maybe she sold the property or something, because she was handling everything by herself. But normally we went there, and normally we only played like 9 holes at a time, because that's like 3 hours or something like that to play like the front or the back 9. And I think out of 9, I think my record without handicap was a plus 16. Which is terrible, at least for a pro. But
yeah, because high is bad, isn't it? You want to high. No, doesn't high mean you've got? If you're high on the handicap, that's a good thing because it means you're a good player because they have to add it on to your because it's lower strokes wins.
You want minuses. You want minuses.
I thought
tons and tons of minuses. No. If you have a par 3, yeah,
yeah,
and you get that means you have 3 shots to get it in. You get a 0. That's a par.
Yeah, I get
But
that.
if you get in 4, you get a +1.
That's what I'm saying. A
par.
handicap, a positive number on a handicap means you must be a better player because it adds on strokes.
Maybe, yeah.
Because let's say let's say that if they're like to get a par 3 round 9-hole course, that's going to be 27 strokes, isn't it? Because it's 3 par for every hole. In theory, like if you're on par, it'll be 3 strokes per hole, 9 strokes. 3 times 9 is 27.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you get below that, you're doing better than the par. But that's mean if your handicap's plus 16, it must mean you're quite good because I have to add numbers to make you above the figure. So the idea is whereas like if you're a poor player, you probably have negative figures to make your number lower.
No, it's the other way around. So if you have like a 16, if you have 16 extra shots because of your handicap, rather than being 27, that would be 30, 45, yeah?
Yeah, which is worse.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm saying. So if you've got a positive figure in your handicap, you must be a better player because a shit player would be negative figures, wouldn't they? Because they'd have to take shots off them to make them closer to you.
Yeah.
Let's say you can play a perfect round of golf, and I can't.
A perfect round. I get pars all the way through.
Yeah. So you end up with 27.
27 shots, yeah.
But I'm shitting than you. I always do like 2 over. So I end up with a score of 47. To make us air quotes equal, I'd have to have a negative 20 handicap, as it were, to make us balanced, as it were, and comparable. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's probably right. I'm not getting the math, but my mind is mush at this point.
Because I'm going to score more strokes than you are.
Yeah.
So to make it comparable, I have to have strokes removed to bring me closer to you. So I have to have a negative one. Yeah. Whereas you could have a positive one. I don't really know how golf handicaps work, but I'm assuming that if you're adding strokes on, you must be a better player because you're making yourself worse.
Maybe. I don't know how the handicaps work. I think that's why I've never played with it, to be honest, because I didn't want to have to deal with it. Be like, hey, this is how it's done. It's like I don't care. I just want to shoot some balls.
Let's see what's a good handicap. Oh, I don't want this. I just want someone to tell me what good handicap is.
Good handicap.
What is a good handicap? Okay, so
just watch as you get flamed by the disabled community, dude.
Yeah, yeah. Apparently, an average golf handicap for men is 14.2. Is the average for men?
14.2.
14.2.
Well, what does that mean? What does that mean?
That's
you get 14 extra shots per how much?
You get 14 added onto your score, I believe.
Okay, but is that out of 9 or out of 18?
Right, let's have a look at golf handicaps. Do you know, of all the things I thought we'd be discussing on this pod, I did not think we were discussing golf handicaps.
No, not no, me neither.
Golf handicaps, numbers in the sense golf is speed based on previous golf scores. Okay, your golf handicap is between 0 and 28. Is your golf handicap between 0 and 28?
Okay.
So.
But that's out of 18 then.
So it looks like your handicap must. Right, okay, according to this, your handicap must be took off your score because it's not so a positive number doesn't get added on; it gets took off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, because it says here, your average score per 18 holes, and it tells you what your handicap should be. So, if your average score per 18 holes is between 70 and 75, your golf handicap should be between 1 and 2. If your average score is 107 to 112, it should be 29 to 33.
So, if I had plus 16 on 9, then that would be plus 32 on 18. That means I have a handicap of 32 then, yeah?
Yeah, which is like the shit end of the score, I'm afraid.
It is. It really is.
know. I don't know what. I never got a handicap. I don't,
Nah,
but
me neither.
I imagine mine would be mine would be that end of the scoreboard as well. I'd have thought.
Hey, either way, it's fun. It's all about the fun.
Let's have a look.
Going out, getting some like fresh air, walking around. Actually, it adds up. You end up walking quite a lot on a golf course.
Yeah.
It's healthy. At one point, that's also that. Well, that would be several years back, dude. That was right around when before my kid was born.
Yeah.
So that's about 16. Wow, that's 16 years ago, dude. I feel old. Oh my god. Oh no.
So,
But yeah, at that point, I think I was out at least during the summer, like 2-3 times a week playing golf.
yeah. So, according to this, Tiger Woods' current handicap is 6.3.
Like he has a handicap?
Yeah, he has a handicap, but his is one of the lowest. Is lower than any other pro's average between 20. So his handicap of his average handicap from 96 to now is 6.7. That's his average. This is lower than any other pro's average between 2016 and 2020. So he's
Now I know what to aim for.
Yeah.
Tiger Woods, I'm coming for you.
So Dustin. So I don't know these names. Dustin Johnson, Jordan Spieth, Brooks Koepka, apparently tied at plus 6.5, and Roy McCloy is plus 6.
That name I know.
Yeah, so he's plus 6.
All right.
So it's, yeah, okay. There you go.
There we have the stats.
Yeah.
The stats don't lie, guys. The stats they don't lie.
I think my handicap would be plus 100.
I don't know, dude. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised.
No, I'm
like
not.
all of a sudden you come out there and you get the hang of it, things start going better.
No, I've
But
got real.
You have to remember, though. You have to remember, you're a tall dude. You need extra long clubs.
Yeah.
My friend Carno, he I don't know, was 2 meters and 206 centimeters tall, something like that. Yeah. He can't use he can shoot with my clubs, but it's not the same as when he plays with a set that's just a little longer clubs. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we went out. We played a bit of golf last summer, and he actually beat me. And he hadn't played for several years. He actually ended up beating me. So you're not playing with clubs that are adjusted to your height and whatnot. It's
Yeah.
It impacts you negatively.
Yeah. I'd also imagine that if you are taller and your club's longer, that means just through physics, when you hit that ball, your club is going to be swinging faster than someone who's shorter because you're going to have your arc it travel through is bigger.
Oh, so we went from golf statistics to aerodynamics.
Well, yeah, this is the Randaz way, because it's if you've got if your club's 3 foot long and my club's 4 foot long, I know that's not going to be the case, but if say it was, and we both swing through the same arc, like 150 degree arc or whatever you swing through, or so actually more like sort of, because you go over your shoulders, more like sort of probably 220 degrees, it's like 220 degrees, or probably about 180 degrees, wherever it comes. Because mine is longer, it has to travel further distance to hit the ball, which means it's hitting the ball faster.
This guys. I'm sorry for the interruption. This is how penis envy started. This is how
mine's 4 foot, yours is 3 foot.
Exactly.
And
blame
yeah, and you
I blame
swing
the
it about,
Scottish.
and you swing it about, and you hit the balls faster, and and it
just
gets in the
sounds so
hole,
wrong.
and it gets in the hole.
It just sounds so wrong, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it? There's a scene in Top Gear, not Top Gear, in Red Dwarf, where he says about they're in a prison, and he talks about going to the toilet, and the chap says, "Look, well," he said, "do you not see all the posters on the walls of the toilets?" And the guy goes, "No, when I go to toilets here, it's like golf. I concentrate on my grip, keep my eye on the balls, and I'm trying to veer off to the side."
And then he yells like every time, "Hole in one!"
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, shouldn't think it make a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what height are you?
I see. I don't do the whole.
That's fine. Don't worry about it. I can work.
I think I'm about 6 foot. About 6 foot. I think
About
because I'm
6.
184 centimeters.
You're about the same height as me. Then I'm about 185. So you
That
should.
can't be, dude. That can't be. You're taller than me, aren't you?
Oh no! Last time I measured about 185. Last time I measured. Depends how much I'm slouching on the day.
They do say that our corpus goes like crunching down to
Yeah,
we're the tallest when we get up in the morning
that's true. That is true.
because we've gotten an actual stretch over the night.
And well, it's also it's gravity. Gravity's pulling you down over the course of the day. It pulls you and compresses you over the course of the day. Interesting thought.
That explains things. No, just not gonna do that in the podcast.
This is why I always lay down before I have the ladies round.
Exactly.
Stretch everything out a little bit.
That's why I have a tendency to trip all the time.
Oh dear. Oh, well, that's good. That's good. Well, yeah. If you come over, I'll see if I can what the rules are, because there's probably a dress code if you need to go golfing.
Dress code.
Yeah, a lot of golf clubs in the UK have dress codes and stuff. Like, yeah, like you have to wear like a.
No one cares about that shit in Denmark. Like if you have, because it's during the summer. If you have your shorts on and a t-shirt, that's fine. But the whole you need a special shirt and you need them gloves and you need.
Unfortunately, the UK golf clubs are in the UK are very much the case of. It basically comes down to classism, really, because the people going to the golf clubs, which traditionally you had to be quite well off to be able to afford to go golfing because it was an expensive hobby, traditionally. So people going to golf clubs weren't your average Joe. They were like the lawyers, judges, high level bankers, that the sort of professionals were going. So when like other people tried to come, they put dress codes in place. So, you had to wear shirt and proper trousers and stuff like that. Yeah, those sort of things were put in place to prevent you going and keep the riffraff out, basically. And it's still somewhat like that. They have like sort of dress codes and stuff. And
it's an elitist sport then, yeah?
It's a classist sport, yeah. It's a bit like fox hunting. It's all like, well, where, classist sport, you have to be like from like unless you're like putting in like 200k a year, you're probably not going to go fox hunting in the same way that a lot of people go golfing aren't. It's not a lot of people. It's more accessible now but you just have to. You just have to abide by the dress code.
This whole class thing, I hate that shit. I hate that shit. It makes me want to like just grab my shit with like class this, mate.
Yeah.
No.
But
we're higher born, so therefore we can shut the fuck.
It's always about keeping people out, though. It's always about sort of like the people the haves don't want to associate with the have-nots, so they'll just think of little silly rules to keep them out and stuff. Yeah. Whereas, like, say, places like America have a predominantly racist society, in the UK we have a classist society. It's not as bad as it used to be, but there is certainly still the holdovers from that.
I don't feel like we have a lot of that in Denmark, to be honest. I don't feel like we have any of. Well, we do. Well, no. Let me put it this way: we don't have it, but there are people out there that have more money, than have
Yeah,
better jobs, or that think they are entitled to this and that, more
yeah.
than other people. But in Denmark, we'd be like, we'd just flip them the finger and be like, shut it, just shut up.
It's not as bad as I think it used to be. It's definitely bad as say like 100 years ago.
Hmm.
Um, Nowadays, in my experience, I work retail. I have dealt with people who've got awful lots of money.
Hmm.
I've dealt with people who've got virtually no money, and I generally find most people are fine. Most people are quite civil and polite, and so and generally have trouble. I mean, a farm I used to work on. The woman in charge was actually a bona fide lady. She actually had a title. Um, but
Oh,
she would. I only found this out like a few months after I worked there because she always used to go by first name. She never used to use a title, and she was a lovely lady. She always used to make me a cup of coffee in the morning when I got there because she knew I like coffee, so she always made me a cup of coffee in the morning
yeah,
and stuff like that. So I think it's not as prevalent as it used to be.
yeah,
Um, I think it's ironically actually I think the ones who've had the sort of like money and stuff for a long time, like you sort of inherited and had it a long time and are older, tend to I
yeah.
seem to find to be fine. The ones I think who are a bit more classist and stuff tend to be the ones who um are younger and have sort of like been spoilt.
Yeah,
In my
yeah.
or have like come into money and they started off with nothing, they managed to get money and suddenly sort of like find themselves in that sort of level, and they think that they've got money, they are better. Um,
That's usually the kids that are like the kids that come from families where they have a lot of money.
yeah,
We have a like so parents that have kids, yeah. Kids then make mistakes. Then the parents sort all the mistakes out, and kind of like pamper them through life.
yeah,
We have a word for that. We call them curling.
curling,
Curling.
like
Yeah,
the like the
curling.
like the sport.
Like the sport. Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
curling
oh, I
parents
see
and
that.
curling
Yeah, that's
kids.
good. That I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the kids
Um,
have when they brush it out of the way. I like that. It's a good. I like
yeah,
that
they've been
term.
they've been curled. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, and that's a thing. Like and I think that's a thing that's over the last 10, 15 years has spread like a wildfire. At least in Denmark,
yeah,
them kids get curled like no other.
yeah,
Um, and eventually, when them kids grow up, it's be like, they're 20. It's like they don't know how to tie their own shoelaces or some shit like
yeah,
that. It's insane,
yeah,
and you see it all over the place.
yeah,
And I'd imagine when you talk class and people come out of money and stuff like that, especially the younger generation, where it's like they don't they just they just do whatever.
Mm. In our case, I
Just
think it's a case of the ones who didn't have to work for it tend to be the worst.
yeah,
So down not far from me, there was a local builder who basically built a house just down the road from us. And he was an arsehole, absolute arsehole. He was arrogant. Um, he used to like just block the whole road up for like half an hour to like unload some building supplies for his house and didn't care. He wasn't
yeah,
like uphill game on. He's just arrogant. Let me put this way, Zaber, right? He once had a charity auction at his house, like one of these sign auctions where people like sort of like put like sign down to have like put money down, and whoever like put down the highest amount would win the charity auction. But it's like silence. You didn't actually bid. You just like write down what you're going to bid, and then at the end you'd feel who got it.
yeah. Silent auction. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And one of the prizes was to have a trip out in his Ferrari with him driving it. A trip out with him in his Ferrari. That was one of the prizes. And apparently he got quite upset that nobody bid for it. But I then found out from I was speaking to some near the farm where they happened to have some builders there, and I was talking to them, and we were talking about. I said about Bill, and I mentioned this guy's name. I said, "Oh, that's his son." I said, this builder said, the senior guy, loveliest man on earth. He'd do whatever you need. He'd look after you, but he was a very good businessman and he knew what he was doing. He planned well and so forth. He said, his son is an absolute arsehole. He got like the job in the business because his father owned it. He gave him sort of his son a very high paying job in the business, but he basically he does sod all because he doesn't need to. And he's just got all the money he needs and he hasn't earned a penny of it. So, but he feels like he has. But he says he's very entitled, but he says his father, nicest man in the world, but his son's an absolute arsehole. I told him about this auction. The guy goes, I'm not at all surprised. He seems to think that being in his presence is a bonus. And I see all the time. We see all the time. It's usually the children who are worse because they haven't earned it. They're benefiting from it.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't tend to earn it. So they tend to be the worst cases usually.
Can we just take away for a second the fact that you're using words like asshole on the podcast?
Well, that's fine.
It is. But when I first met you and learned, like, you weren't as, forthright as you are.
You ain't listened to enough of our podcast, mate.
no, but still, like, you weren't. Like, it's cool. It's a very cool thing.
Yeah, you did some more of our podcast, mate. It's to see what I'm like.
Yeah.
I tend, yeah. I'm perhaps a little bit more reserved in real life, a bit more polite. But that's because I like people. I'm only swear about people and call people arseholes when I'm sort of like when I'm around people I like. I don't tend to be like that. So
I've come to learn that when you use them words, it's because there's a lot of truth to it. Yeah, you don't toss around that word unless it's.
Oh,
it's,
no.
It's true.
No, he is an arsehole. It's simple as that. He is an arsehole.
Oh, well, and with you, I'd take your word for it any day, dude.
I'm generally quite numbed. Having worked retail for a long time, I'm generally quite numbed to most people's rudeness. It doesn't faze me anymore because I've heard it all before, and it just if people rude to me, it's like, yeah, okay then, off you go then. Although I did have
that's fucked, dude. I'm sorry, that's fucked.
Yeah,
that we've come to a point in this day and age and in the world where people can be so nasty that you can become numb to stuff like that. Yeah. It baffles me that that's where we are in the world.
Well, in my experience, people can be rude. They don't tend to be. Very rarely are they aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
Very rarely are they like threatening, and very rarely do they swear. Because if people swear at me, I refuse to deal with them. I'll tell them if someone swears at me, I'll say if you swear at me again, I'm not just going to deal with you. I won't abide swearing. But rudeness doesn't bother me. To be honest, swearing doesn't particularly bother me, but I just like sort of gives me an excuse to dress someone down a little bit and like push back a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll give you an example of this week. This didn't. But I found this more amusing than anything else. But is what she did was quite rude. I had a customer come in and she said I was covering our customer service desk. I was covering it, and she said, "Oh, is so and so in?" I said, he should be like working up there. She said, "Oh no, I've just been up there and he's not there." I said, "Okay, I'll track him down for you." So I start sort of like ringing around trying to find out where he is. And I sort of like, when someone says, "Oh yeah, he's so and so," I say, "Okay, can you just let him know?" I'll just say to her, "Oh, can I just take your name, please?" And she says to me, "You don't need to know my name. I just need to speak to him." Which I found more amusing than anything else. But it's rude. That's a rude thing to say to somebody because it doesn't hurt.
Yes,
say,
it is. Of course it is.
Yeah, just say, "Oh, I'm Ms. or Mrs. So and so." And what most people should that, and also I felt what I found amusing about Zaber was that's the first time in my career I've had anyone ever say that to me. In 20 years, yeah. I've never had anyone actually say it to me. You don't need to know my name. I've whenever I said, "Can I just have your name, please?" They always just say, "Oh yeah, it's so Mrs." Some people just say the first name. A lot of people say, "Oh, it's Mr. This, Mrs. This, so forth," and it basically amused me more than anything. I mean, it was.
You should. Yeah, no, you should probably not have done. But You it could have been funny. Just be like, okay, I'll let them know someone from the IRS is here then.
I was really tempted when someone said, "Oh, what's the name?" I said, "Oh, it's Mrs. You don't need to know my name. Is here to see him." I was tempted to say that, but I did stop myself. To be fair,
Would have been funny if you did like track the guy down, be like, someone out there says, I don't need to know her name, is looking for you, and he'd be
Yeah.
like, yeah, I know exactly who that is.
Yeah. Apparently, to be fair, as she left, she did say thank you. She's thanked me for the help I've given her, but it's just a weird thing to say. You don't need to know my name. It just felt really weird. I feel that's what it's a fact that I've never had that before. Is what took me back a bit because like that's a new one. I thought that's what took me back a little bit. That's odd. I've never had that before.
Yeah.
More than anything else, but that's just that's it. I would consider that rude. I would consider that rude. But that's it. I found it more amusing than anything else. Because I think myself, there you are, sort of like trying to sort of like I'm better than you. Look at me and so forth. I just find it funny. I don't feel put down by that. I don't feel yes man. I don't feel that. I feel like that's just hilarious.
Yeah, that's why I wouldn't be that wouldn't work for me working in a store like that. Having to deal with people, I would probably get in trouble really quick.
I've always said my last day of work, if I'm not going back into retail, that's it. The gloves are off. If anyone pisses me off, I'll just tell them to fuck off. I don't mind. Yeah, I've never touched wood. I've never got to the point of swearing at someone. I've asked people to leave, and I've refused to serve people, but I've never sworn at anyone yet. I'll say because there's always a first time.
Hey, you're still young, dude.
Yeah. Still got another with our current going on like 30 years of working ahead of me. So we'll see. There's still time.
There's plenty of time, dude.
Yeah.
Plenty of time.
Yeah.
And with how things have evolved over the last 20 years, there's always the next 20.
Oh, yes. Well, if retail still exists in 20 years, it's not all just Amazon.
Yeah.
So perhaps we better move on to other games. Because we're doing the nerds thing of rabbiting.
But it is what it is, dude. It is what it is.
It is what it is. So
what have you been playing, dude?
Well, I'm playing a game called The Forgotten City, and actually I didn't know this until I sort of read a bit more into it. It actually started life as a mod for Skyrim, added on side quest for Skyrim, and then eventually it was popular. So basically, they took it out and they made it into its own standalone game. But they changed things about it and stuff. They sort of changed the sort of general storyline is the same, but they changed the setting and stuff. And it's majority of it is a walking simulator. It's the majority of it. There is a couple of action sequences, like combat sequences, but they're not particularly difficult in the game, and they are both technically optional, but they are sort of recommended. But I would say predominantly it's a walking simulator. It's the other sort of like point of comparison I could say that makes me think of is a game called Paradise Killer, which is one I played for a Christmas episode, Christmas podcast a couple of years ago, which is a really good game. That's a really fun game.
What was it called again?
Paradise Killer.
Paradise Killer.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll talk about it in a minute, but that's a really good game. So it's Forgotten City. It starts off with you wake up. You start the game waking up by a river, and there's this lady here, and she says she's found you. And she's basically sort of like she's gone through like seeing who you are, and like she says, the first she says is, "Oh, I've looked at your ID, so just confirm who you are," and that's where you pick your character class. And you've got 4 character classes. You've got a archaeologist, you've got a soldier, you've got what are the other 2? You've got one that's amnesiac, which for some reason increases your health. I don't know how. And I can't remember what the other one is. I picked soldier, because if you play a soldier, you get a gun. None of the other classes get a gun, but soldier gets a gun with 10 rounds of ammunition in it. And she basically says, could you help me out? A friend of mine named Al He went into some ruins over there and he hasn't come back. That was like an hour ago. Can you go back and see if he's okay? So you go into these ruins, and shortly after going to the ruins, you find Al's dead body, but he's like an old man. And it's like his remains of his corpse. He's like an old man. He basically says, turn back now. I couldn't stop this. Don't do what I did and die like me. Escape. But of course, you press on. And you go into this, like, you find yourself like this ruined city, basically. It's this city, just everything's all ruined. But eventually you find yourself, you fall down like this pit into this trap, and you find yourself in this ancient source city called the Forgotten City. And you're basically back, you've tried like time travel back to Roman times. And you're in this like city, and it's a completely self-contained city. And no one there really knows how they got there. They sort of found themselves there, all the people who were left. And there's one thing they've established, and they call it the Golden Rule. And basically, they are like, well, if anyone, the rule basically says this: if anyone commits a sin, then everybody will get killed. So if you murder somebody, if you steal something, everybody will get killed. So everybody's like on edge because they're like, if one person slips up, we're all dead.
That's griefing on high level, dude.
It is griefing on high level. And you eventually sort of like, after being born, you'll get sort of took to like the sort of like magistrate in charge, because it's all Roman. And he basically says, look, I have a feeling somebody in this city is going to try and break the rule, because we only know about it from what we've read. We obviously have no proof of this, because if someone breaks the rule and everybody dies, there's no one to tell this tale. So we only have warnings and stuff that other people have written about, so we don't actually know. And of course, people are going to say, well, are we really all going to die if we break the rules? Because someone's going to do it. And he was like, he's concerned that there's one person in the city who's going to break the rule, and he basically tasks you with finding out who's going to do it. And he basically gives you carte blanche into everybody to like search their houses, and try and find proof that try and find out who's going to break the rule, and then report back to him so they can imprison them to stop that happening, stop their society ending. But he says, okay, if something does go wrong, I've learnt a spell, a ritual, that if I cast it, basically creates a time portal that goes back a day. And if you go through it, you'll go back a day, and you can try again. So it's got a time reset mechanic. So, and you as a part of the game, you basically have to do this a few times, because you will not be able to, on your first pass through, complete it. It's not possible.
Is this like so I'm guessing this is like a puzzle type game.
Yeah.
But is it like Amnesia style where you like move around
First person? Yes, first person.
Okay.
First person, and like I say, it's a walking simulator, so you just walk everywhere. The puzzle, it's more story focused, so the puzzles aren't really about, there's like one puzzle that requires some degree of like timing and skill. The rest of it is talking to people, investigating things, working out, searching places, making connections and so forth to work out how to do it. And
kind of like that game we played on the 24-hour, where it was all in green on that boat and whatnot.
Oh yeah, the Return of the Obra Dinn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is it something like that?
Yeah. That's what I mean by walking simulator. Basically, a game where there's no real combat in it. Like I said, this game has got a couple of combat sections in it, but you don't have to do them. And what the guy basically says, and the way you are going to escape the game is you need to create a time paradox. So because the reason the guy has created the portal and pulled you back is because he knows someone's going to commit the sin. If, however, you can go back in time and stop that happening, because he basically creates a portal when someone commits a sin. When the person does it, he creates a portal which makes you go back in time. So if no one ever commits the sin, the portal will never get created. So he's basically saying, look, if you find out who's going to do it and you're right, I can imprison them. the sin will never happen, which means you kind of come here, which means you'll basically get put back to your time because you'll create a time paradox. So the reason you want to find the person who's going to do it is that's how you escape. You will get out of it. So basically you go around, you talk to people, and throughout the sort of like the day, things will happen, which you can sort of like try and intervene in. So someone will try and commit suicide. Well, they will commit suicide, basically, and you can't stop them on their first day. You'll find people are poisoned, you'll encounter like people have accidents and get killed. But all the time you're doing this, you're learning, okay, what caused this? What thing? Because basically you're going to get another go at it. And eventually at some point, someone will commit the sin and you'll have to, and when that happens, you have to make a mad dash back to where you came into it, where the portal's going to be created. And the magistrate's going to create the portal for you. You can then jump through and come back in time. And go back. Now, what is quite hilarious is this guy called Galerius, who is a farmer. And he's the first person you meet. And the very first time you meet him, he'll say, oh, hello, friend. Why were you over there? And he'll ask you some questions about why you're over there. And eventually he'll take you to the magistrate and so forth. The second time you meet him, you can say, oh, we've had this conversation before. But he'll sort of like take it on face value. As you start solving problems and figuring them out, when you come through and he starts speaking to you, you can say, look, stop there. I need you to go do this for me. And he'll just like, okay, then off he goes. So you just basically tell him what to do and he'll run off and all the stuff you figured out, he'll go off and do it for you so you don't have to do it again. It's just hilarious, like saying, right, stop yourself there, mate. I need to go give this potion to this person. I need to go tell this guy I've got this information on him. I need to go tell this person not to go in that building. I need to go tell this guy this person's over here. And you give this little people to do it. And he's like, okay, then I'll tell him why later. And off he trundles. And great thing is, you can follow it because if you follow them, you get, because it's quite nice. They've really like worked out like everybody has like a route throughout the day because time does move in the game. The time does move. It's quite a slow progression. I never ran out of time on a day, but time does move round. And like, the suns will like pass through the sky and things will happen at certain times. Most things will happen only when you activate them, but certain things will only happen at certain times of the day. There's going to be an election, for example, called, and whatever happens in the election, if you don't get the right results, that's what will trigger the devastation. Okay. The breaking the golden rule. So you are sort of not really against the clock, so as I say, you'd have to wait an awful long time for this to happen. I don't know how it takes, but it takes hours to pass. It's not quick. But yeah, you're sort of basically you're trying to sort of solve these side sort of missions, and as you do them, you'll get more information. Eventually, you'll be able to figure out who's going to break the golden rule. Right. And yeah, and it's great because you can start sort of freaking people out by saying, yeah, you don't know me, but I know everything about you. And you can just like throw, and there's like this one woman who, the first time you speak to her, she basically scams you. And the second time you speak to her, you've got the option of saying, you're an awful person, I don't want to speak to you. It's like the sort of dialogue option you've got. And she's like, oh, fuck you then. Off you go then. And yeah, you can, yeah. And and you're like, that it's just so there's so many little funny bits like that in the game, and these people will have a life. They will move around places, they'll go places and stuff, and they'll talk to each other and they'll have conversations you can go sort of like listening to. It's still very much player focused, so that things won't happen without you, but the world does move around you, which is quite nice, but you're not under any time pressure. There's still no sort of like you must get to you need to get to see this person the first 10 minutes of the day, otherwise it'll go wrong. And whatever ones that is basically solved by you giving this guy Galerius a load of list of jobs to do. But yeah, and the game predominantly consists of you talking to people, finding out information, like I say, investigating stuff, and just generally trying to work out what's going on, people's motivations, and try and work out why people are going to do things. And every sort of like pass through, you'll find that you'll get more stuff will unlock, and because you basically, as you learn stuff, there are certain things you can't do like the first time on the first like pass through, but you can the second time. For example, you need like a drug basically to save somebody, and you can go buy it, or if you want, because once you pick an item up, it saves your inventory permanently, so you don't have to do it every single time. So like this, there's a potion this guy's got, and if you pick it up, obviously without buying it, you're stealing. You break the golden rule, and everybody gets killed. And like so all these statues go on and start killing everybody. And
Mhm.
once you then, so obviously if you're like, well, I don't want to pay for this, that's okay. I'll just pick up, run to the place, reset time, and I'll still have it. You carry over whatever you pick up to the next time loop. You carry it with you.
You steal everything.
Yeah, there's an there's an achievement for stealing like 2,000. I can't remember how to pronounce it. Like 2,000. I'm just going to call it gold. I can't remember the correct name for it. Their coinage. If you steal 2,000 after you've triggered the golden rule, there's an achievement for stealing that much money before you go reset time. Because you carry it with you, so you can just carry it through. So like, if you find like a stash of coins, you just go back there every day and pick it up, and you'll just claim money. And like the potion, for example, you don't need the whole potion. So every time you go through, you just give a small amount to Gallius, and he'll go off and give it to the person who needs it, and you'll keep it in inventory. So there's no sort of like frustration of having to do the same mission again and again and again every single time, which is nice. So you don't, because that could get boring if you have to like, okay, I've got to do this, I've got to go do that, I've got to go do this. That could get quite boring, but they don't make you do that, which is nice. And it's generally a really fun game. I like the storyline of it. I liked all the people. The people were very well written and stuff, and you get a real sort of cross parts of thing. And some people have like sort of worked out what's going on.
This is written dialogue, yeah? Like, there's no voice acting?
Yeah,
is everything voice acted?
Yeah. It's all voice acted.
Oh.
Yeah, it's really nicely done. It looks really pretty as well. Because it's also like sort of one.
There's going to be links in the show notes, yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's it only came out like 2021. It's fairly new. Right. It's on PC, PlayStation 4 and 5, and Xbox.
It's on Xbox too.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. It's really if you like, I like walking simulator games. I do like games where you just sort of like you can just sort of chill. You know, you're not going to get in trouble. There's no combat to really worry about. You can just sort of take your time walking between people and chatting them and so forth. And I quite like games like that.
Yeah.
Because it's saying like ancient Roman times, the advantage you get, so you can do things like if you really want, you can take your gun out at any point and shoot somebody. And the guns, they all like, well, that's a weird thing you've got there. And like the magistrate, if you put the gun in the magistrate, it's like, what the hell's that? Why are you pointing at? What is that? Why are you pointing at me? It's like, mate, I'm going to shoot you. What you wait what happens. And you can just shoot them. And you can, it's a game very much like encourage you to like, you can fuck around because it doesn't really matter because the game, until you make progress, the game will always reset.
I just got an image of. Have you ever seen Evil Dead?
No.
All right, I just got whoever's seen it knows the reference when it's like say hello to my boomstick. But I got that picture in my head when you said like you draw your weapon and they're like, what is that? I'll show you what it is.
yeah, stuff like that, and yeah, it's more fun. I must admit, I was quite the ending. I managed to, because I took my time and did everything, but I sort of got solved the side missions. I unlocked. There's about 4 different endings, but there's one called the canon ending, which if you do like all the side mission stuff, you can get to. And I did that, and I managed to get the best ending the first run through, which I was really proud about. And it's got a really nice. It's also got a nice sort of epilogue as well, which explains what's going on with everybody and stuff. It's really nicely done. The voice acting is good. It's not. I was worried it's going to be a bit frustrating, but it's not. It's really sort of. It's at your own pace. Honestly, I was like I literally sat there all day Sunday playing it. And I went and I finished it on Monday. It took me about 8-9 hours to play through.
It's not the longest game.
No, it's not the longest game, but for a walking simulator, that's pretty decent. Most walking simulators about.
You did all the extra stuff, yeah.
Yeah, you can apparently. So apparently, the quickest you complete it, you need to do. I think you need to do a minimum of four time loops, 4 days, and you need. I think that's the minimum you need to do, and you can do it in about 4 to 5 hours.
Right.
If you just go for the main, if you ignore a lot of the what they call leads, which are your side quests, if you ignore those, you can do it fairly quickly. Most walking simulators tend to be about 2 to 4 hours long, so this is actually pretty
Okay.
decent in that regards. And as a story-driven game, it's really good. So as it reminds me of a game called Paradise Killer, which is another game I really recommend people play. It's on PC. I don't think it's on Xbox. It's on PlayStation Plus or on PlayStation Net. The online store, it's digital only.
Right.
And that's a really good game. That's set where you are basically, it's set like this other dimension, and you actually committed a sin, which meant you've got put in like this like prison for like 1,000,000 years or 1,000 years, and they pull you out because someone's been murdered, and they pull you out to solve the murder, and you have to like go around interview people. That one isn't fully voice acted. That's mostly just text. And that one you have to go around, and it's a really interesting art style as well. It's really sort of lo-fi, but that's a really good game as well. And to explore and stuff and find out information off. That's quite cool. I'll put a link to that in show notes as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I have to say I went into it not quite expecting, not knowing what I was going to expect, and I was very pleasantly surprised how good it is. And there's clearly so many options of ways you can go through it, and because you can always reset time, you can get all the you can get all the endings quite easily because you just reload save and just go back through time if you need to. And it's not sort of like learning stuff. It's just really really neat. So if you like walking simulators, this is definitely a good one to pick up. If you like this idea of a sort of detective style game, this is a really good one to pick up. And there aren't many games set in Rome times, and this is it's done a really nice job of sort of feeling like ancient Rome. So it's neat in that regards as well. And it's also very funny. There's a character. There's a character you meet who basically interrogates you, and he's got his mind set up what's going on in this place and what's happening. And no matter what you say, he'll twist the words round to fit his viewpoint. And and no matter what, I feel, and because obviously in ancient Rome, and I think the most funniest line is in ancient Rome, it was bad. This is time. This is before the Romans became Christian, and then this time period, it's Christians are like sort of like considered cult and bad, and if you're Christian, you're basically maybe put to death. And at some point, you get so frustrated when the dialogue options is like, "Oh Jesus Christ, you're insufferable!" And if you say that, he goes, "I knew you were a Christian. Die!" And he shoots you. It's just so funny. It's just I had great fun with it. Great fun. Just what I would say, my own bits of advice would be: doesn't matter what character class you play as, actually, it doesn't make a difference. The soldier only gives you like one mild advantage, not really main advantage. But make sure you pick up loads of arrows, because there's a section where you'll need a bow and arrow, and you'll need plenty of arrows. Just make sure you pick up loads. Because you time resets every time, you can get like 20, 30 hours hunting around. Make sure you do that every cycle, so when you get to that bit, you've got plenty in reserve, because you're going to need them. But yeah, really neat game. There'll be a link in the show notes, and I'll drop you a link on Discord so you can have a look, because it's really cool.
Yeah. And the fact that it has voice acting actually might make it a game for me. I don't like sitting around and reading too much. So the fact that it has voice acting, just something. And I haven't really tried games like that before, so that might be a good one to start off with.
Yeah, it's what I call I consider them like a Sunday afternoon game. It's a game to sort of sit back with a controller in your hand, with your mouse and keyboard, chill out. You're not there to. You don't need to be like, oh man, on sort. You're not there to like for an adrenaline rush. You're just there to have a bit of a chill, and you can take it at your own pace. You can sort of start and stop. It's a bit like, if you play Skyrim, you just wander around the cities chatting to people. You can take it at your own pace. That's sort of like where you're sitting at. It's very neat in that regard. So it's definitely worth a pickup, and I'll be interested to see what your thoughts are if you're not a walking simulator person. I'm interested to see what you think of it.
Yeah.
So cool. Right, I think we have both rambled on long enough.
We have.
We have. So
we're good at it.
we are very good. I tell you what, I was a bit worried. But when Zaber comes aboard, we won't be doing these tangents so much because he's going to be like more. Because me and Skaz used to go off on real massive tangents, but I was like, nope, the Danish man's doing me proud. So here we go. So thank you very much, everybody who's joined us this evening or listened to the podcast. You can check out our next podcast, and if I prepared myself properly, I looked at the date first before we got to this stage, which will be on the 1st of February, 2024 at 18:30 GMT. So you come join us for that in a couple of weeks. You can check out our next games night, which will be on the 31st of January. You can check it out on either... Also, the podcast you can check out on youtube.com/roundnerds or twitch.tv/roundnerds. Games like you can pick out on twitch.tv/roundnerds or my channel, twitch.tv/SuffolkRam. There'll be a dual stream to that. That'll be on the 31st at 8:30 GMT. You can check out our website, roundnerds.co.uk, and which is hopefully going to be going through a little bit of a revamp soon. So check us out for that, and on behalf of me, Suffolk Ram,
same all.
We look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks' time. So see you guys later.
See ya.
And he says, thoroughly switching to OBS.